Hello and welcome to another special episode of On Board with Cruise Passenger. I'm Rose Kelly, your host.
And I'm Peter Lynch, Editor-in-Chief of cruisepassenger.com.au and Cruise and Travel Luxury Magazine.
Now, Peter, on our last podcast, we launched the first of our 6-part podcast series all about river cruising.
We did it.
And for those who missed the first one, we busted all the myths and cliches surrounding this wonderful form of travel.
Yes, it was the first of a series from the River Cruise Collective, an initiative by cruisepassenger.com.au and 4 of the world's great river cruise lines to help people discover the delights of holidaying on inland waterways. And in case you missed it, you'll find it on our website, cruisepassenger.com.au/river cruise.
That's it. And I'm excited because Peter pronounced it correctly today. But today we can announce the start of 6 months of amazing competitions for stunning cruises worth almost $80,000. It's very excited. Drum roll.
Yes. Sign up for our newsletter at cruisepassenger.com.au for news about the amazing series of prizes, beginning with a wonderful trip on the Danube.
And the Danube is one of my personal favourites, but there are so many destinations that you can explore with all of these prizes. And we'll tell you plenty more at the end of this podcast.
Can't wait.
Now, Peter, you know you're not allowed to enter.
What?
But neither am I.
Oh, yes, that's right.
But you guys at home can. So in our last podcast, we discovered that river cruising really is a world of luxury, adventure, activities, exotic destinations, and so many more advantages that you can't get with ocean cruising.
Indeed. And it's the most cost-effective way to see places like Europe. In this podcast, we'll be taking a closer look at how much fun can be had on a river cruise in Europe, in some of the most desirable and popular places where people love to cruise.
Now, your holiday doesn't have to end when the ship docks. This is the best part about river cruising. We'll be chatting with a cruise line that really knows how to do the tours, the excursions, the adventures, and embracing the local cultures of all the destinations that they visit.
We'll be talking to Tauck, whose slogan is travel beyond ordinary.
Now, did you know that Tauck offers over 150 destinations by land, small ships and rivers?
You know, I didn't.
You should know that, Peter.
Well, I do now.
Well, you should also know that Tauck is about to celebrate 100 years of history.
A century.
In 2025, so next year. And they'll be celebrating with 5 of the original 6 Tauck family board members.
Now that is amazing, Rose. Well, you've been doing your homework. Tauck are one of the leaders in combining the best experiences both on and off the rivers. So let's talk to them about what they've got to offer.
Let's do that. And right now we're going to talk to David Clark, who is the Managing Director of Tauck in Australia. And David is joining us right now from his home in Adelaide. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Dave.
Thanks so much.
Now, lovely to see you. I know that Tauck is a well-established name in the world of travel, but it's relatively new in Australia. So tell us how long you've been operating here.
Absolutely. Well, look, we've been operating in Australia and selling in Australia for probably 35 years.
Oh, right.
However,
that new.
We only established the real presence of having an office here about 5 years ago when I started as the head of the business here. So we've been touching this market for quite a long time, and I think now that we've got a full team here, an office in Australia, a full team of marketing and sales folks that, now we take this market extremely seriously and excited for the potential. I mean, we've had clients that have travelled with us. We've got one lady who's travelled with us 45 times.
Wow, 45.
She is a true Taucker and part of the Tauck family, and we've just got to find more people like her that want to keep coming back over and over again. But we're excited for the future.
That's sensational. Now, I actually know that you guys have a really impressive video on the website that gives a beautiful flavour of Tauck's history. So we're going to just play that right now.
In the summer of 1925, the son of an immigrant, 27-year-old Arthur C. Tauck, loaded a handful of passengers into a Studebaker for a carefully planned 1,000-mile vacation through New York and New England. It marked in many ways the fulfillment of his father's quest for the American dream. It also signified the beginning, not just of an enduring family company, but also of a new industry, which has enabled countless travelers to experience the natural wonders and fascinating cultures of the world in ways they could never do.
And I think Tauck still carries that promise today, including to its river cruises.
Yeah, we absolutely do. I mean, we specialise in, all of the wonderful rivers of Europe, from the Seine to the Rhone to the Danube. And we focus on making these all-inclusive journeys that have all these exclusive activities and events that, guests can't get anywhere else. It's no wonder we're very proud to say we've, won Travel and Leisure as an award for 26 years in a row, and we hope to win many more awards and get that, message out to potential clients and customers.
Fantastic. For me, David, the rivers themselves are lovely. The ships are fantastic, but ultimately the best trips have been the ones where I'm exposed to local culture, the places we visit, the people, the history, the stories, and of course the food.
Oh, the food. Peter's favourite, the food.
I'd get there, the food.
Yeah, look, I do agree with you there, Peter. And those experiences, they don't just sort of magically happen when you step foot in the destination. They do take a certain amount of organisation, or in Tauck's case, experience, to make that sensational holiday appear seamless and organic and natural. So do you think that's a particular point of difference for Tauck, David?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's why river cruising is so great, right? I mean, we put together so many different components of local tours, of dining experiences, of exclusive access to palaces, museums, that it all comes together to form this, seamless journey that people go on for 11 days and feel like it just happens. Whereas, we know for a fact that our tour architect spent 3 years to put all that together to make it the most perfect journey. So it's an absolutely work of art, and it takes time, but that's the point, isn't it? You want your guests to experience it and just flow through each day. And our tour directors, I mean, we don't talk enough about, they're our secret sauce. We call them. They're 10 years of experience on average with the Tauck company.
Wow.
And so they get to know these places just so well, and they become part of the local destination. Everybody knows them. They've got all this secret access to local markets and, an ice cream shop or a wine tasting, etc.
That's something that you can't get from the brochure. And I believe that your tour directors are actually, they're handpicked from something like 41 different countries. And they speak how many languages?
About 52, I think. So,
52
they're pretty well done.
That is
impressive.
Incredible. So I'd really love to hear from you personally, to get a taste of what a typical tour would look like. Let's say perhaps through the south of France, one of my favourite regions, by the way, and find out why a river cruise is the ideal way to see and experience this region.
I'm so surprised you picked the south of France, Peter.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you think
favourite. So. David, let's go to the south of France. Take us there.
Let's imagine we're on a river cruise through the south of France. Give us an idea of what we could do on the tour that captures the best of the local culture.
Now, you're just asking, Peter, because, as we know, it's your favourite place. It's called Le Château Neuf du Pape.
Strange you should mention that.
Château Neuf du Pape. It's this particular wine country and a tour, and this is your favourite red wine in the entire world.
It's true. Did you know that the popes who reigned over the Roman Catholic Church in Avignon during the 14th century enjoyed not only the fortress-like palace, but also the fruits of the vine? In fact, they are credited with creating the entire wine industry. The life of this region still centres around the growing of grapes, producing and enjoying wine. And a Tauck tour features the professional services of a sommelier, guiding you through and tasting, pairing Rhone Valley wines that so perfectly and unforgettably go with the meal that you're going to eat.
You're sounding so passionate about this, Peter. It's like you have taken us there. And I've got to say, I didn't know that this all kind of originated from the popes of the region and their enjoyment of that particular red wine. But now that you say it, it makes perfect sense. Yes, the popes, they love their red wine.
They certainly do.
Doesn't it sound wonderful? And David as well, your Paris, Lyon and Provence cruise features a pastry class for Tauck guests at Le Cordon Bleu, Paris, Provençal lunch at a private ranch in La Camargue, a reception and dinner at Foucault's, followed by a city lights tour of Paris at night. And there are private wine tastings in Beaujolais and Chateau Neuf du Pape. Did I pronounce all of that correctly?
I think you did, and it's certainly one of the reasons why these cruises, especially through France at the moment, are very, very popular with our Australian guests. We're finding them in the top 3-4 tours that our guests are taking all around the world each year.
Nothing wrong with our taste. I can certainly see why. And at 10 days for $10,290 with all of those glorious experiences, it sounds fabulous. It's one of my all-time favourite regions. I may have mentioned that.
You did mention that, Peter. Yes. And I imagine that you're going to be having a glass of red wine after the podcast.
Straight after this podcast.
Remembering those days in the Chateau Neuf du Pape region. But now, David, tell us a bit about the ships. Would you say that river cruising is undergoing a transformation, a new image with younger people, more adventurous activities? People are rethinking river cruise.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, we've got a fleet of 9 ships across the rivers of Europe, and they were custom built for the river. They were made for the destinations they're going for. And I think, everyone has this definition of luxury. And at Tauck, we believe luxury river cruising has around 105 guests on average per our ships. And our ships are about the same size as pretty much every company out there. So we believe less passengers makes an enormous difference to the type of experiences, the tours, the choice that we can offer. For 105 passengers and having 45 crew members on board, you can expect the service to be immaculate. So our standards are very, very high. And the space and the enjoyment of guests, there are no dinner seatings. You just turn up to the restaurant at dinner from 6 till 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and there'll always be a guaranteed table waiting for you. So that ease of not having to plan every minute and having to turn up at a certain time, I think makes a major difference.
I call that more of a relaxed luxury, which I think people are really leaning towards these days. There's that freedom and ease on a holiday where it's not too formal, but all of your needs and wishes are still met when you're on board.
Absolutely fantastic. So, David, tell us one thing about a Tauck river cruise that people often find surprising.
I think just as I said before, the destinations that we go to, they're such small, beautiful cities and towns that people underestimate what that experience is like when they're venturing onto a river cruise. They see the big highlights and see the big cities, which there's a reason they're so popular. But, when you stop in a tiny town and you get to walk off and experience that local culture and taste some wine and sit in a small cafe and watch the world go by, I think that's something that, people expect and they've read about it, but it absolutely blows them away once they're on board. So
I couldn't agree
those
more.
experiences are hard to define.
That to me is when you stop feeling like a tourist looking at a postcard and you actually feel like you are living almost, that dream of being a local in a destination, and you're actually in amongst that heartbeat of a small town and that daily life of a foreign destination. That's the magic we seek.
And that's the magic of river cruising, because you can only do that when you're actually sailing through a city right there in the heart.
Hey, David, I heard that you have one particular story for us about a mum and her daughter on a Tauck cruise. What's that one about?
Yeah, I'd love to share this. This was just last year on one of our Christmas market cruises through France. And it was a lovely story because I was actually travelling on board at the time. And this lovely lady, she was about 80 years old. She was travelling with her 55-year-old daughter. And we got talking one night. They were quite surprised, that I was there, travelling by myself on a Christmas market cruise. But
what were you doing there?
They shared the story of
her
husband and father had passed away not that long ago, and he'd always dreamed of going on this cruise. So they wanted to fulfill his wishes and sort of dreams of traveling. And they decided that they would collect the Glühwein mugs at each of the markets. They have special ones at each market they go to. And, you know, they were collecting them and putting them in their room. And they got to this one town. And unfortunately, the rain sort of hit and I was there and we had to all kind of run to the coach. And they hadn't been able to get their Glühwein mugs. And they got back on board and you could tell visibly upset that this sort of part of their special journey wasn't going to happen. And I remember them talking to me about it, and it was about 9 o'clock they retired. And the next morning they came to breakfast and they were looking all happy. And apparently our tour director noticed that they didn't get the mugs. He ran off in the rain.
Wow.
He purchased the mugs for them and he put them on their bed before they went to bed that night.
Oh, no, fabulous. What a great thing to do.
Oh, the point of difference.
It was the look on their faces and the kind of, you know, it's the small things that matter. And I think that was probably bigger than small, but it really made a huge difference. And I think that's where Tauck goes above and beyond at every occasion they can.
It speaks
I love
volumes.
That story.
That is divine.
Absolutely amazing.
That is something they will never forget and certainly something that you wouldn't be able to say would necessarily happen with every other river cruise company. That's a real point of difference.
Now, at the River Cruise Collective, we're all about promoting the virtues of river cruising. If someone asked you to name one thing that a river cruise has that makes it a no-brainer for your next holiday, what would it be, David?
I think it's just the exclusive access to destinations that, you know, other touring companies just can't provide. You know, we have so many, I guess, experiences on every single river cruise journey that are exclusive to not just being a river cruise, but a river cruise with Tauck. And you know, seeing the gardens of Monet's Gardens at Giboney before it opens to the rest of the public at 7:30 in the morning when Monet used to paint those absolutely amazing paintings of the lily ponds. And then leaving a destination and, let's be honest, seeing all the other tour companies lining up waiting to get in makes you feel special, makes you feel that you've made the right choice. So I think that's something that stays with us.
Fabulous.
Well, you've sold me, David. I just I feel like I'm at Châteauneuf-du-Pape or running through the rain, buying Glühwein mugs. I feel like I need to get back on a river ship with Tauck ASAP. But thank you so much, David. It's been such an absolute joy to speak with you today.
Thank you so much, David. And yes, I'm off to book my place on a cruise to Châteauneuf-du-Pape, please.
I'm first.
Thank you, David. Take care.
Thank you.
Well, Peter, I think that really paints a surprising new impression of river cruising for those that are ready to be sold on what river cruise is like today.
Yes. Now, don't forget to get over to the River Cruise Collective. Stories on our website, cruisepassenger.com.au.
And also, you'll see your chance to win a 7-day cruise of your choice on any available 2024 or 25 itinerary for 2 people.
Amazing. It's all inclusive and worth $15,274.
Woo! Well, sadly, that's all we have time for today. But this special 6-part series of River Cruise podcasts will be continuing again next week.
And next time, we'll be diving deep into more of the surprising sides of river cruising and why river should be on your radar.
As well as more of those prizes to a total grand prize collection of almost $80,000 of river cruises. So check that out and stay with us over the next 6 months. But don't forget, the next edition of Cruise and Travel, our gorgeous print magazine, is on sale now at selected newsagents, or subscribe at cruisepassenger.com.au/magazine.
See you all next time for another exciting episode of On Board with Cruise Passenger.
See you then.